Okay.
In the light blue towards the right hand side, she simply burst away. Did Sweet Future. She was always up in contention, always travelling well, but she turned it on in really smart style, and Sweet Future wins the 2021 listed Bohemia handicap, and she'll be an interesting filly to follow.
Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Welcome to the Handicappers Report, looking at the action for Saturday, February 27th, a big day of racing across the country, and part of that will be Gulfstream Park, and looking at Gulfstream as usual for us on this Saturday morning. Brian Nadeau, live from New Orleans. Good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Yeah, it's an exciting Saturday at Gulfstream, one of the premier days. Fountain of Youth Day, Key Kentucky Derby Prep, 14 races, so it's a long one at Gulfstream, 11:30 a.m. post time, but a lot to look forward to, that's for sure.
Before we take a look at Gulfstream, and we kind of have to jump into that, I wonder if you have any thoughts on the Southwest. I'm going to take a little pop against Essential Quality and see if maybe Jackie's Warrior has come back with a little added maturity. I thought, it's worth taking a little pop maybe at this point. If you're going to take the pop against Essential Quality, today's probably the day to do it. But if Essential Quality comes back as Essential Quality, that one's the one to beat. I have it right underneath in the second spot. Spielberg may be a little bit interesting because whenever Baffert comes from Southern California to Arkansas, you have to pay attention. But what were your thoughts on the Southwest at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't seen anything to suggest that Jackie's Warrior is a two-turn horse, Seth. And don't forget, we talked about this last week, neither of those horses missed any training time, so it should be a pretty level playing field. But maybe if he gets loose, and has a little bit better trip than he had in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, I just think at the end of the day, even though this is not the end all be all for Essential Quality, he'll still get it done over Jackie's Warrior. I need to see him prove it. Seth, I think by the time we get up to Saratoga this summer, we'll be talking about Jackie's Warrior and races like the King's Bishop, the Allen Jerkins, because I just don't think he's a two-turn horse.
Yeah, I was just, you kind of mentioned it. I thought maybe a little speed pop, a little pace play in there too. Maybe you could get out and steal it down there, but we'll see. It'll be interesting over in Oaklawn. Derby prep as well as the Fountain Youth a little bit later at Gulfstream Park. But with 14 races, why don't we, Joe, before we do, let's talk just quickly a little fairgrounds. I was watching the pregame this week, paddock commentary too. You and Joe and John Dooley on the air, but I saw you were in shirt sleeves, so it's moderating, it seems like, a little bit for you down there in New Orleans.
Seth, yesterday was, I think, 78 degrees. The entire weekend is supposed to be 77, 78 degrees. So we actually joked yesterday, and we felt bad doing it because, when you're on the set, as you know, you've got the lights like in front of you. And I looked over, I said, Joe, I don't want to be that guy, but it's pretty hot out here. I don't know. I felt like a jerk doing it, but oh man, it finally broke, Seth, and 25 degrees last week is long, long gone. So we are very happy here in New Orleans.
I'll also ask you just before, because again, we have to move quickly here, but I was talking to my sister last night and brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law grew up in New Orleans, and so they were talking a little New Orleans, and they were talking about Mardi Gras, which I guess without the parades this year, a lot of people have really gone all out on their houses, and they said they had heard some 200 houses were decorated down there. Have you taken in any of the Mardi Gras?
Okay, I mean, everyone in some way, shape, or form does put stuff, on their house. It is a very festive town. We drive to the track and you see these purple and pink houses and things like that. And the first time we did it, I'm like, Joe, what is that? He's like, oh no, that's a thing down here. So they are very festive down here. Yeah, you do see a lot of houses decorated. Obviously, they couldn't celebrate it proper, so they took it upon themselves to do it personally. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, as I say, I've been seeing some pictures about it. My brother-in-law was talking about it last night, so I wondered if you picked up on that. All right, let's shift over to Gulfstream for Saturday afternoon. Again, 14 race card, race number 1 scheduled to go off at 11:30. The opener today, maiden special, 3-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs.
Yeah, these are one-sheet selections. We're going to go really quick in the non-stakes races. 10-2 over the 5-6, past the Champagne, ran pretty well behind a rousing winner on debut. Now goes from Rusty Arnold to George Weaver. It's a small sample, but George is 4 for 9, getting new horses into his barn. And this filly looks like she's poised for a breakthrough. Put her on top of Sibak, who's got a big pedigree for Todd Pletcher. 10-2 over the 5-6. 11:30 opener for that early pick 5. Yeah,
potentially some 3-year-old fillies to watch going forward. Second race at Gulfstream, optional claim or non-winners of one other than the 1-turn mile.
Just 7-2, Seth. Nocturnal, really, really impressed. I'm coming back off the long layoff for Todd Pletcher. He steps up and faces winners, but he looks like the controlling speed, and if he's not, he'll just be the outside pressing speed. He looks like a horse, a newly minted 4-year-old now that obviously has had some issues, but he looks like an exciting prospect for Todd. He's only run twice. Both races very, very fast, and I know he's facing winners, it's a class rise, but I would think he moves forward and maybe stakes company in his future. Beau Luminaire, turf dirt, a good 2-turn pedigree. He can run underneath the second. Set of 7-2 in the early bit 4.
Kick off some stakes action in race number 3. It's the Here Comes the Bride Grade 3 event, $100,000, 3-year-old fillies on the grass at 8.5 furlongs.
Yeah, this is a good race, Seth, because some of the mid-price contenders are no slower on paper than the favorites, and that's why I have a 2-3 over the 1-6-8. These stakes are impossible at Gulfstream today. But Lejana, I saw her up close and personal here at Fairgrounds. She was my best bet of the day when she won, and she looked really polished doing it. She tipped her hand at Aqueduct on debut for Cherie DeVoe, who aggressively spots her in this stakes. Should trip out just off the speed. The speed is Cone Lima. Now, if she gets loose, she'll be tough to reel in, but she got loose last time, and she gave it up late at 6-5. She's going to be another underlaid price. Spanish love affair, comes back from the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, where she ran a very good to be sixth, a close sixth that day. She's chased Aunt Pearl twice in a row, so I mean, she gets some major class relief here. Outside a little bit, Toby's Heart is the wild card. Hasn't run since we saw her in Saratoga. Hasn't run past 5.5 furlongs, so it'll be interesting to see how she stretches out for Brian Lynch. And then number 8 all the way outside for Designer Ready. Ran very well for Bart Minshall from Woodbine to Gulfstream to be third in the stakes last time behind Cone Lima. It's a tough one, Seth. 2-3-1-6-8. I'll play for a little bit of an upset.
The Mecca Diarmida in the fourth race, a mile and 3/8, grade 2 event, $200,000 up for grabs.
Where's Sadler's Choice, Seth? I feel like it's the first dance he's missed in 7 years. 4-1 over the 8-7-3. Just another really, really tough race. Bill Mott has had an awesome meet so far at Gulfstream. Moon over Miami. He hasn't been out since October, but he's now 4. He's probably a more mature version of what we saw at 3, and that was pretty good at 3. Junior Alvarado, the main man, is here. I'm going to put him on top in a little bit of an upset. Temple down inside is the horse to beat for Mike Maker. No doubt about it. Maker's got a slew in here. Number 8, Admission Office, is progressing the right way. I know our guy Sully Crotty likes him a lot today. He was very, very good at Tampa last time with a troubled trip. Number 7, Aquaphobia, will relish the class relief out of the Pegasus World Cup Turf. And then Tide of the Sea is the morning line favorite. I just don't think he's going to get loose, Seth, because there's speed to his outside in Phantom Currency, especially with Paco name. And I think that's going to be problematic for Tide of the Sea. I'm against him. That's basically my biggest opinion here. 4-1 over the 8-7-3, and as you said, the grade 2 Mac Diarmida.
In the fifth race, maiden special 3-year-olds going the one-turn mile.
6-3 over the 4, and I don't know if you dug into this race or not, Seth, but Benny from the Bronx at firster for Chad Brown and Peter Brandt is a half-brother to Charlatan, so he's going to attract a lot of attention. He'll be a lot lower than his 3-1 morning line, and it doesn't look like a loaded maiden field either, Seth, so I put him on top. Full court press, I would expect a lot better. Second time for Bill Mott, and then the morning line favorite, Collaborate, he was kind of an iffy fifth to me on debut for Safi. You can ask him about him. He was bet hard that day. It paid a lot of money for him. I'm just going to play against him. I would think Benny from the Bronx can run a little bit with this pedigree for these connections.
All right, you're frozen on it. There we go. You're back. Your signal froze for a moment, so I was pausing before I moved on. The sixth race, the Palm Beach, $100,000 up for grabs. It's that subdivision I like so much. The 3-year-olds on the turf. They're going to go a mile and a 16th.
6-2 over the 3, and just from the flow of this race, Seth, it looks like Fighting Force is really going to trip out nicely. He was an okay fourth as the favorite in the Texas Turf Mile. All 3 of those horses, Palazzi, Excess Magic, and Dynamite, are going to run in our black gold on Saturday after this race, but you can take note of that, see how Fighting Force runs. I think from just off the early lead, he'll get first run on these, put him on top. Number 2, Annex, was really impressive, winning on debut for Bill Mott, who's not a first-out guy. And that says this one has a world of talent. And then the favorite is Scarlet Sky, comes off that big, big win last time. But this is happening a lot today because these are stakes races with 3-year-old. This horse ran with Lasix last time, does not have Lasix today, and it's just like, it's a guessing game, Seth. You're going to run with it, how are they going to run without it? Well, he freaked with Lasix last time. His non-Lasix runs have not been as good. Tread very, very lightly with Scarlet Sky. Tough on the handicapper. 6-2 over the 3 for me in the Palm Beach.
Yeah, that's something we're all going to have to start looking at a little more. These 2-year-old, the 3-year-old races, the stakes action, it's definitely going to put another piece to the puzzle. 7th race at Gulfstream today, optional claimer with the C condition, the one-turn mile.
11-5 over to 7-6-4. These intermediate races are super tough. Another pick 4 in here. There's a lot of speed, so I put attachment rate on top. maybe he can settle off of it and make a late run. There's plenty of speed in here. It has the look of a race that might fall apart, so I put attachment rate on top at a nice number for Dale Romans. I think Jose Ortiz getting aboard is pretty significant too. 11.5 over to 7.64.
That's a nice little optional claimer with horses like Attachment Race and Endorsed in there. Interesting seventh race. Wraps up the first half of the card. We'll step back, take a break. When we come back, we'll continue on with Gulfstream, including the Fountain of Youth. Stay tuned.
Horses racing, people betting. It's been going on since before the Roman Empire, and the fastest horse is still the one that wins. Where there's gambling, there's cheating. That hasn't changed either. What has changed are the tools used to combat doping and cheaters. Today, professional horse racing operates under an aggressive anti-doping program, testing labs on par with the Olympics, and standards tougher than human sport. For 85 years, the Association of Racing Commissioners International has fought for safe horses in honest sport. ARCI standards form the basis for the rules of racing. Today, they call for a new expanded program to protect all horses, young and old. To join with them or learn more, visit arci.com.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to the Handicapper Support. Seth Merrow and Brian Ido. Let's jump right back in. Gulfstream race number 8, the Canadian Turf. $125,000 up for grabs for the 4-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16th on the turf.
Yeah, things really get going here, Seth, now with the stakes races. 4-5 over the 9-6-2. I mean, I'm taking as many spots as I can on the one sheet because these races are so difficult. Fancy Liqueur is going to be a fair price for Mike Maker. You get Jose Ortiz, a tactical position here. I thought this horse has been running well and finally gets a better post position set. And that's what I'm hoping is the difference to put him over the top. Eons for Arnaud Delacour has run well without without winning of late, but I think he's a major player off his last few in the Tampa Bay. Last time he was a good second, a close second outside. Number 9, Winter's back. Kind of cool to see Kendrick Carmouche come down to ride this one for Todd Pletcher. He's been on him twice. He's won easily twice, stepping up to stakes foes today. Venezuelan Hug for Danny Gargan, who's just having a crazy hot meet. And then down inside, Olympic Runner is your morning line favorite for Mark Cassidy. I have no idea why. Makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, he can win, don't get me wrong, but he's coming out of a desperate optional claiming win, and he doesn't have a lot of early speed, so he's at the mercy of the pace. B, he might have to pass all of them from an inside post. Can he win? Sure. I would probably think he's more like about 6-1 in here. 4-5 over the 9-6-2 in a tough Canadian turf.
Absolutely. Ninth race today, Gulfstream Park Mile Grade 2 event, $200,000, and up, as the name indicates, the one-turn mile.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on Performer Seth. I just thought he was so unappealing last time. And in winning, I will give him credit for that, for getting up. He was just so desperate. And it kind of said two things to me. Maybe he's just not as good as we all thought he was. And B, I don't really know if I want anyone out of that race last time. It's a blanket finish. He was desperate to beat Eye of a Jedi. So what I did was I went with Fearless, 5-4-2-3-6. He probably needs a race. The 1-turn mile might be short, but he should get some pace, which should help his late run. And he was threatening to be a pretty good horse for Todd last year. Irad is here off the layoff. He's probably prepping, but just maybe things work out right for him today. I put him on top over Performer. I mentioned that one. I don't know, he just doesn't do a lot for me, Seth. He kind of runs the same race every time. He's going to run his 97, 98 buyer, 99 buyer, whatever. Might be good enough, it might not, but I don't know. I just don't really trust him at an underlaid price. I'm sick of Tax. I've played him so many times. All he does is disappoint me. I'm never on him when he wins. I'm always on him when he loses. He was dreadful when I picked him last time in the Pegasus. Now blinkers go on and back. You can have him. I don't want him anymore. Eye of the Jedi should run well too, and Avant-Garde should run well too. So listen, there's a lot of different ways to go in here. You do not have to pick the favorite Performer. I didn't want to do it. 5-4 over to 2-3-6 and a tough Gulfstream Park mile.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what Performer does and off of that last effort. Got some experience over the track. Does he improve off of that? Which direction does he go? He's the interesting storyline certainly in there. In the 10th race this afternoon, optional claim with the C condition. It is 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
This is my best bet of the day, Seth. It's just 8-2, straight 8-2, and I saw Bodie Cream try to gut it out in our wood chopper here at Fairgrounds. He ran so game. He never really got loose early. It's not the spot he wanted to be in. And Pixelate is a really nice runner from Mike Stidham and Godolphin, ran him down from off the pace. But Bodie Creamer in a winning race. Well, today he gets to sit off Saif. He gets first run, and I think that'll be a decisive winning move. And I put him on top over Opry, who's second off the long layoff for Todd. He'll be close too, but Bodie Cream, I think, finally gets his time after running so good in these graded stakes races, these listed stakes races. He's hit the board in 4 of them in a row, drops a little bit in class today, and just sits the best trip of any horse of the day. 8-2 for me, my best bet of the day, Bodie Cream in race 10. Late pick 5 time. Late pick 5 time.
All right, taking a look at race 11 on Saturday afternoon, the Honey Fox Grade 3 event, $125,000 up for grabs for the ladies going a mile on the grass. The return of Got Stormy, who after the Breeders' Cup last year sold for just under $3 million, but she comes back as a 6-year-old. Going to be interesting to see what she does in her return. Your thoughts on the Honey Fox?
I just didn't want to pick her, Seth. That was really the bottom line. You know, we've talked about horses coming out of the Breeders' Cup, and she hasn't raced since then. So it's 8-2 over the 6. There's no speed in here. Jakarta's going to get loose under Kendrick Carmouche. I don't know how far she wants to run, but this 2-turn snappy mile at Gulfstream can take horses a long way on the lead. She'll be a big price. I'm just hoping she forgets to stop. You know, she's never tried 2 turns. I don't know if she can get it or not, but like I said, she's loose as can be in here. And, you know, Got Stormy is really nice, and I have a lot of respect for her and the job Mark Cassidy did with her last year, but she was better sprinting last year. She's back at 2 turns. She's off the Breeders' Cup layoff, and certainly the Grade 3 Honey Fox is not the end-all be-all, so I'm going to put her in second. And then Zofel I have in third, and she got up last time for Brendan Walsh, looked really good winning the Marshall River. But I don't think she's going to get that crazy pace she got last time, and that really, really helped her. If she gets it, she'll probably win again. But to me, she's at the mercy of the pace here today and going to play against her. 8-2 over the 6, trying for a little speed play to the hoop with Jakarta.
Sounds good. Let's turn the page to race number 12 this afternoon. The Devona Dale could play into the Kentucky Oaks a little bit later this season. The return of Vequist out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly win last time for her. But there's a nice full field in here of 3-year-old fillies in the Grade 2 Devona Dale going a mile.
Yeah, they didn't shy away from her, right, Seth? And, you know, Butch Reed is just 1 for 21 off this elongated layoff. And listen, you look at her works, there's only 4 of them showing, and there's gaps in them too. So, you know, I don't know the story with Vequist, but she's still supposed to win. I mean, there's not a lot in here. Several of these are total 50, 99 to 1 types that you can draw a line through. There's 20 to 1s on the morning line. That should be 50. Yes, there's 12 horses, but, at the end of the day, there's probably only a couple of them that could put a scare into V-Quest, and she just looks so much better than these. She's a champion 2-year-old filly, and deservedly so. She was so good last year. Yeah, she could need this race. Yes, it's a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. Yes, she's just getting started off the Breeders' Cup layoff. I just found it hard to find anybody to beat her, Seth, so I put her on top. Curlin's Catch, if nothing else, comes in great form from Mark Casse. She's going to face the acid test today, but she's gone from a maiden winner to a stakes winner at Tampa last time, and she certainly did look good doing it. It was 2 turns in the Suncoast, so back to 1 turn, and here's V-Quest. No disrespect to anybody she beat at Tampa with her 79 buyer, but that isn't going to scare V-Quest at all. Milfoil for Bill Ma. I mean, she's pretty good. She just gave him a 3-length late lead in the Demoiselle going 9 furlongs last time. That kind of sticks in my craw a little bit. And it was a sloppy track as well. Now she cuts back to a 1-turn mile. I would think she's prepping for longer too. Bill's had an awesome meet, so I respect her. I respect her talent. I my home bet. I'm just going to play against her too. It's the reason why I think V-Quest is just too tough in here. So 3 over to 4-5.
Race number 13 this afternoon, the very one Grade 3 event, Fillies and Mares going 1 mile and 3/16 on the grass.
7-3 over the 6. You're going to get a little price on Bacchanalia for Chad and Seth Klarman and Irad. And this just looks like the typical lightly raced horse that Chad's got going good, and he takes this Trident Stakes company. And, it's not a great race. There's not a lot of pace in here. Antoinette might get loose. I've got her in second. But maybe Bacchanalia, second off the break. She's got a recency edge on some of these. She should trip out just off the speed, and maybe she moves forward. She's going to have to, but she's 2 for 3 at Gulfstream. She's got a lot of upside. It looks like Chad's got her going in the right direction. She should be a decent little price. I'm going to put her on top. I think Antoinette might get loose, and that could prove very troublesome for the rest of these. But she hasn't been out since a no-show in the Valley View at Keeneland in October. She is facing older stakes fillies for the first time, too. Maybe she needs to race. I don't know, but I'm going to put her in second, but she's very scary for Bill Ma. I have no idea what to make of California Queen, first-time Chad, Mike Doug, off the Longchamp Group 1 on Arc Day. Her best race probably wins this. She doesn't race with Lasix. I think that's, I wonder why she came over here. Probably a private purchase for Mike Doug and Madacat. But, her Euro form wasn't great. It was solid, but she is a Group 2 winner, but that was in Germany and kind of not a very good race. Her other group form on the major level wasn't all that great. So I don't know what to make of her, Seth. Maybe she is favored just because she's a Euro first-time Chad. The other thing I thought was interesting is Tyler Gaffalione. There's no Ortizes. There's no Javier's here. Tyler's phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't ride first call for Chad. He doesn't ride second call. He doesn't ride third call. So take it for what it's worth. I put her underneath 7-3 over to 6. In the penultimate on the 14 race card it goes.
And scheduled to go off at 6:10, and it's been a while since daylight savings time ended, since we've mentioned a 6 p.m. or later post time down at Gulfstream Park, but that just goes to show we've been getting a little later sunlight every day, and they're taking advantage of it this afternoon down at Gulfstream in the Fountain of Youth. Grade 2 event, $300,000 up for grabs, 1 mile and a 16th, and Greatest Honor is going to take a lot of action in here. There are a couple other horses that are maybe a little bit interesting. Fire at Will trying legitimately the dirt for the first time. Won an off-the-turfer up at Saratoga last season, but has been 3 or 4 starts on the turf for Mike Maker. So Fire at Will is a little bit interesting. And yeah, I have Safi Joseph coming up on Racing Across America, and we'll talk a little drain the clock on the stretch out as well. But what are your thoughts on the Fountain of Youth?
Yeah, well, Drain the Clock's the most interesting horse. I mean, there's speed to his outside, but he's just going to try to pop this field. It's a short finish line, too. Don't forget that. But I don't know, Seth. It's not a very deep, talented race. in greatest honor, and he's going to be 4-5, 9-5. He's not going to be close to 9-5, but it's just 8 over the 6-1. I tried to get, I'll talk about King's Ovation in a second. I tried to get clever underneath. There seems to be plenty of speed. I don't really trust Drain the Clock going this long, and I don't think they'll let him get loose, and if they do, it's because he's going to be going crazy fast. I'll be interested to hear what Safi says about him. Prime Factor was horrible last time in the Holy Bull. It is, if nothing else, it's interesting. Todd comes back. Fire at Will is unproven, as you mentioned, on a fast main track. He's not necessarily bred for it, certainly with Kitten's Jaw on the bottom. But as you know, Seth, anytime you have a good 3-year-old, you have to try him on dirt. Tarantino was a kind of a someone had to be second, I thought, in the Holy Bull. And so that brings you to Greatest Honor, who was really, I did not like him at all in the Holy Bull, but man, he was great. Pretty slow race though, Seth. I mean, as awesome as he was, he runs an 89 Beyer. That's not winning anything significant. But I just think right here, right now, at Gulfstream Park, he's just better than this group. It doesn't look like a good group to me, Seth. And so he's going to be really tough to beat. Even if he regresses a little bit, I think the key here is that Shug, the ultimate horseman, he's not going to run him in this race if he wasn't kicking the barn down. So I think he's going to be really tough in here. He'll clinch a spot in the Kentucky Derby. King's Ovation is interesting. He was second in the swale. He gets run off his feet by Drain the Clock. Now he tries 2 turns for the first time for Dale Rome. It's not the best of pedigree. Not this time out of a high cotton mare, but not this time. These horses are running. He was a 2-turn horse. He'll try it here today. And he'll be sitting back and making a late run where a lot of these others are going to be hot and bothered early on. And so maybe it works them all, and King's Ovation kind of can just pick up a bad second. And that's how I'm going to play it. Drain the Clock is fast, and he's got the best post, and it is the short stretch. Don't forget that. You cannot forget that. We saw promises fulfilled at 17-1. Forget to stop in this race a couple of years ago. Maybe it happens with Drain the Clock. I don't know, Seth. I just don't see it with other speed to his outside. It's just 8-6-1. I'll chalk out. I think Greatest Honor. I don't really love him on the national scene, but in Hollandale Beach on Saturday, February 7th, he looks pretty darn tough to me.
Yeah, it should be a fun afternoon with the Fountain of Youth and over at Oak Lawn, the Southwest, as we really start to get into this Derby trail now. It started a couple weeks ago down to your place with Mandaloon, but we get a little more serious this afternoon with the returning champ, Essential Quality, over in Arkansas, and this year's kind of notable horse down at Gulfstream, Greatest Honor. So looking forward to the afternoon. And looking forward to you having a good day, Brian. Hopefully we gave out some good ideas. We'll cut you loose, and I'll take a look when we come back at Aqueduct. But again, appreciate the thoughts this afternoon on Gulfstream, and we'll talk again next week.
Yeah, Seth, just real quickly before we go, I just want to mention Rosie Napravnik is going to be here at Fairgrounds on Saturday. She's going to be on all day with Joe Christofek. I'll be up in the press box, and she's here to promote New Vocations, which is, as I'm sure you know, thoroughbred aftercare, and Rosie's been pretty integral in that. There's one here right outside of New Orleans, and she's going to be on all day. She's going to be doing analysis with Joe as well, but she's going to be on promoting that for horsemen, for fans. So, take a listen if you get a chance. It's obviously great for these horses that do so much for us to give back a little bit. So it's going to be pretty cool to have her here in person promoting that. So I just wanted to mention that before I get out of here. But yeah, it's a great card at Gulfstream. 14 of them, graded stakes galore. One of my favorite days of the year, Seth, Fountain of Youth Day. So I wish you the best, everybody back home the best. We'll see you next week.
Brian, appreciate it. Brian Nadeau, taking a look at Gulfstream. Again, you can pick up all the selections on the website, capitalotb.com, and click on the handicapper support link. That includes the Aqueduct picks, and I'll go over those when we come back right after this.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. We're looking at the action for Saturday, February 27th. Just wrapped up the big day at Gulfstream. There's also a nice day at Oaklawn. This is the weekend that was scheduled for a couple of weeks ago and was canceled because of weather, and then last weekend also because of weather, so it's now been moved with the Southwest on Saturday, featuring the return of Essential Quality. Sunday, we'll see Monomoy Girl at Oaklawn Park, so nice racing at Oaklawn as well. But I'm going to shift my attention to New York for Saturday afternoon. The opener at Aqueduct, $16,000 conditional claimers going a mile. I have it 1A, 6, 4, and 5. And I will note, this is another one of those funny entries, the one in the 1A and race 1 at Aqueduct, because of the husband and wife jockey team, Katie Davis and Trevor McCarthy. So if one of them scratches out, a lot of times I will handicap and a traditional entry, same trainer, same ownership group, whatever, the stronger half scratches, but you still kind of feel like I'm going to put my trust in the connections that they know what they're doing with this scratch, and still have a little bit of confidence in maybe the lesser half. But keep in mind, with this kind of a entry, that doesn't hold at all, because these are completely different connections that have no relationship whatsoever. It's just the jockeys. So if the stronger half scratches, I'm not showing the same amount of confidence in the situation. So the 1A on top for me. Make or break. I just think with the class relief, this one could prove to be proficient in here. Ran at this level 4 starts back and ran good second at this level. Subsequently was racing against better, and 2 starts back was kind of competitive, but overall firing consistent numbers, just maybe in a little bit over her head class-wise. So I think it's back to the comfort zone for make or break. Second slot, we'll take a look out at the number 6, Gringotts. Nice second place finish last time, was at this level. It was a little bit of an improved effort. Maybe the horse is in some good form and can be a player in with this bunch. Has 10 starts at Aqueduct though and no wins, but that last one seems to indicate horse may be primed for a good effort. In the third spot, we'll go to number 4, Choose Happiness. Goes out for Gary Siaka off a finish last time against a little bit at this level, 2 back, and it was an okay 4th, I suppose, but there were some races. The one 3 back at this level was pretty good. So again, second off the claim, dropping back to a level where maybe the horse will be a little more competitive. Puts Choose Happiness into the mix. In the opener at Aqueduct, 1A, 6, 4, and 5. In race number 2 on Saturday afternoon, maiden 40 claimers going 6. I have a 2, 3, 6, and 5. I'll put Hollywood Gina on top. Paid $125,000 for this horse at a 2-year-old sale, spring of last year. Debuted in October in a maiden special race, sprinting on the turf. Showed nothing there. Now they come back off a little bit of a layoff on the dirt, sprinting for a $40,000 tag. Again, they paid $125,000. So there are question marks galore, I suppose, but there were some next out winners coming out of that debut race, and again, it was maiden special weight. I'll give this horse a chance with this scenario this afternoon, but as I say, there are some questions that have to be answered. My Delicious is a not this time runner. Not this time is one of those win early sires I like. This one has had 4 tries, hasn't gotten it done, but all 4 tries have been at the maiden special weight level. I say it often, these win early types, by their breeding, sometimes they'll take 2 or 3 or 4 starts and then get a switch surface or conditions, class, whatever, and then they'll wake up, they'll live up to the breeding. Well, that's the situation with My Delicious getting the class drop here today. One Glamorous Gal, 4 to 5 on the morning line, maybe the one to beat, but like the top pick, boy, you get a suspicious drop off the purchase price. They paid $250,000 for this horse at Keeneland, September 2019. Debuted at the end of last year, so given that scenario, it was a belated debut. Showed a little punch before fading against maiden specials, but given that, they kind of are throwing up the white flag here and dropping for 40 in the second career start after having paid $250,000. And again, the first start for this one was kind of okay. So I have questions on both my top pick and the number 6 Glamorous Gal, but maybe the questions were just a little more potent on that 6 horse. It'd be interesting to see how it plays out with both of these horses, though, on that drop from their purchase prices in the second at Aqueduct, 2, 3, 6, and 5. Race number 3 at Aqueduct, the Stymie Stakes action, $125,000 up for grabs. 4-year-olds up going the 1-turn mile. In the Stymie, I have a 3, 2, 4, and 5. How about Mr. Buff on top? I took a little pop against Mr. Buff last time because I just wasn't sure whether he was the Mr. Buff of old as a 7-year-old, and what we saw late in the 6-year-old season. If I was wrong, he was fabulous last time. We'll see if he can put a couple like that together. I think he can come back a few points on the buyer scale and still have an edge on most of these. But boy, if he puts 2 like that back to back, it seems like it's Mr. Buff this afternoon. Musical Heart in the second spot. Showed some speed last time before fading a little bit behind Mr. Buff, but speed is always dangerous, and if this one gets out at the 1-turn mile, cut back from the mile and an eighth last time, maybe a little tougher to reel in today. And then Limonite in the 3rd spot. This win last time at an optional claimer. That was the first off the claim situation. I just think the number fired last time for the new barn makes that horse kind of intriguing in here. We'll see how it plays out class-wise, but I think belongs in the conversation. In the Stymie, just going to be fun to watch. Mr. Buff is so much fun. 7-year-old New York bred with well over $1 million in the bank. Coming off of that nice win last time. Going to be rooting for him one way or the other. Short price, but Mr. Buff on top in the Stymie, race 3, 3, 2, 4, and 5. Race number 4 this afternoon at Aqueduct. We will root for our friend Steve Bick and his DT Stables Kid Chocolate. Don't have that one in my mix, but I always like to root for the locals, and my Saratoga Summer co-host on Loose on the Lead. Kid Chocolate for DT is the number 6, but I have it 1A, 7, 3, and 9. I went out to Cobble Hill. Rudy Rodriguez, boy, he's just having a good meet, particularly over the past couple of weeks, and so I'm kind of the hot barn. This is a comebacker, though, so will the horse be ready to run, and comes back for a reduced rate. But it's one of those where you can justify the reduced rate. This is a horse that was claimed last July for $16,000, put some money in the bank subsequently, so it just seems like a logical place to start for the return. And again, with the hot barn, Cobble Hill on top. Tapazirance in the 2nd spot. Nice second place finish last time. That was at a 14 level low. Claimed out of that, moved up to 25. I kind of like the confident move up. Has raced against better than this level, not that far down the page, so I think it's going to fit okay and comes in off a good effort last time. And then St. Lorenzo goes out for Carlos Martin, another guy who's having a really good meet down at Aqueduct with the hot hand. This one comes in off some efforts that I think fit, efforts right in and around this level that fit with this group this afternoon. So St. Lorenzo clearly has to be considered in a race where I think you could point to maybe 2 or 3 others and have an equal level of confidence. It's an interesting way to kick off the Empire 6 on Saturday. Race number 4, 1A, 7, 3, and 9. 5th race is a tough race. It's another one of those where I could have gone in a number of different directions. You have some firsters in here with connections and breeding that have had some experience that is the kind you can build on and make a case for. So in a tough race, I went 8, 2, 1, and 4. I put Dr. Blue on top. Lake Not This Time is a sire of win early types, first out win early types. This one goes out for John Kilmer, another guy who's having a good meet. There was a sib called Trust that took 3 starts to win. Another sibling called Go Fish that only had 2 starts, was 7th in the debut, but then ran an okay second in the second start. So it's a little win early, or a little early precociousness maybe from the sibling. So I'll take a little pop with Dr. Blute on top. One Whirlwind Ride in the second spot by Twirling Candy. So there's some win early breeding there. It almost lived up to it last time. Tossed the race 2 back where the horse lost the jockey, but the follow-up was a near-miss finish. And again, with that breeding in that race last time, has to be considered. Olympique for Bill Mott by Midnight Loot. There's a sibling called Aunt Babe that won its career debut, so there's some win early breeding, and Bill Mott can certainly have them ready. Tough Workout, it's Pletcher, it's Rapoli. Came up from Palm Beach Downs to face this state-bred company in the career debut. Got that gold Linda Rice runner by Golden Sense. I could have made it there as well. It's a fun race. It's an interesting race. In the 5th at Aqueduct, I went 8, 2, 1, and 4. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at Aqueduct for Saturday. Stay tuned.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you where's the best sports bar in the capital region, tell them Legends Field Sports Bar inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to capitalotbnet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or FiOS Channel 467. And win more with Capital OTB. Welcome back to Handicappers Report for Saturday afternoon. 6th race at Aqueduct. $16,000 conditional claimers, 7 furlongs for me. 9, 4, 5, and 9, 4, 5, and 2. Number 9 is Judicial Restraint. Started the career in the barn of Chad Brown and Klarovich. They realized pretty quickly they weren't going to get this one to live up to the purchase price. They paid $120,000 back in 2018. Second start of the career was already racing for a 30 tag. Third start broke the maiden at 16. Broke the maiden at 30. Maiden 30. Fourth start of the career dropped down to the 16 level. Well beaten third, but was claimed out of that race. But what we've seen so far, I think the horse, wasn't going to live up to the purchase price for Klarovich, and so they were trying to get it empty a stall. But I think at this 16 level has shown enough talent to think can be interesting in here. So first off, the claim for Linda Rice, albeit the claim was last October, so certainly there was maybe some issues to be dealt with, because I don't think you think, let's claim in October and start in February. But again, I think there's enough there to think that if they have the horse going in the right direction, and there's a little string of workouts underneath in February that seem to indicate that's a possibility that this horse could be the one to beat. Second slot, we'll look at Have a Heart. Off a third place finish last time, a nice win to break the maiden 3 starts back. So it took a couple of starts, as sometimes it does, moving a condition. A couple of starts for this one to kind of figure out the N2 level. Now a couple of improved efforts at this level to build on. We'll put Have a Heart in the second slot, and then Our American Star, number-wise, has been moving in the right direction over the past few starts, right at this level, and off the last seems worthy of considering. I said off the last Have a Heart is worth considering. This one was just behind that one last time, and like that one, like Havahart, also has some improving numbers to build on, so seems logical as well. In the 6th at Aqueduct, 9, 4, 5, and 2. Race number 7 at Aqueduct on Saturday. Maiden Special Statebreds going 3/4 of a mile. 2, 4, 7, and 8. I'll put our man Mike on top. Horatio DePaz runner that clearly they had some high expectations for, in that this horse is still a maiden after 3 starts. But start number 2 and start number 3 were rich stakes races up at the Finger Lakes. Both times the horse ran an okay second. So off of that, this horse seems like the one to beat in the seasonal debut. I'll put that one on top. But Chad Brown does have a firster in here for Mike Dubb and Company, Dr. Ardito. Just a firster from Chad Brown with a nice steady string of workouts. Many of those workouts on the page down at Palmettos, but it seems like sometime late January headed up to New York. Again, why not? Face the Statebreds in a maiden special for $70,000. Has been working now over at Belmont since early February. And again, should be a player in here with those connections. Jeremiah Engelhardt has a first-timer by Mishawish in Viking Zim. The number 7 horse goes out for August Dawn Farm. That's Bill Parcells. So this one cost $120,000 at Ocala last spring. Could be a player in the debut, as could Vincent for Ray Handel by McLean's Music, another interesting firster. And a fun race where you can point to a few different horses and probably have the same pros and cons level of confidence. But in the 7th race for me, 2, 4, 7, and 8. 8th race at Aqueduct, $8,000 claimers going 7. In the 8th, I have it 8, 3, 11, and 9. Number 8 is Direct Order. Well beaten last time and claimed out of that race for 16. And well beaten, and now they come back for 8. But it's Robitrass off the claim. He's very good off the claim. There are numbers underneath that stack up nicely with this bunch. Get Robitrass off the claim with a horse dropping down to the lowest level. And again, that drop raises questions as much as gives confidence. But again, with a good first off the claim trainer, I'll tilt towards Direct Order to maybe overcome those question marks. Win with Pride in the 2nd slot. There was an October to January layoff. The return was not much at the 10,000 level, but seemed to perhaps have needed that one. The follow-up to that was a move from 10,000 to 8,000, and it was pretty quick, couple of week turnaround, and had a nice win at this 8 level. Now comes back in a fairly similar event, so Win with Pride seems to be in good form, fits at the level, logical as a contender in here. And then we will go outside to Playwright, the number 11 horse. Claim 2 back off a decent 3rd place finish at this level. The follow-up was an okay 4th. I just thought as I was looking around and kind of debating with similar types, this one 2nd off the claim just looked to be in some decent form and overall consistently throwing numbers that probably have a little bit of an edge on these. The last couple weren't super inspiring, but again, compared to this particular bunch, seems like a decent fit. In the 8th at Aqueduct, 8, 3, 11, and 9. And in the 9th race, on a card where it seems like I've said a lot, I'm kind of stabbing, I feel like, in very competitive races. I can't say this one's any different. 9th at Aqueduct Statebred Maiden Specials going 6. I have it 4, 12, 1, and 2. The number 4 is Blame It on Mary. 5 starts so far in the career, a 2nd and a couple of 3rds, but the last was one of those 2nds. The last was a pretty good effort that seems to indicate the horse may be in good form. And as I looked around the rest of the field, maybe you want to go for some firsters. I wouldn't argue with a Fresh Face being the way to go in this race, and I can point to maybe 3 or 4 of those that are interesting. But experience does count. I'll tilt slightly towards Blame It on Mary. 2nd slot, I will go with one of those firsters, Sport Model from Christophe Clement. He, of course, very good with first-time starters. This one by Freud's up a steady string of workouts down at Payson. But again, Why not come up to New York to face the state-bred maidens for the $70,000 purse? Laura's Bellamy in the third slot. It's one of those Florida transplants for Todd Pletcher coming to New York for the career debut. And Black Panda at a price by gemologist with a kind of an unknown trainer owner, but has been working at Keeneland. And you go back to the February 6th workout, it was pretty good. There's maybe a little bit of breathing. There are some workouts that are interesting. There's a 21 morning line price. Trevor McCarthy on board. The number 2 Black Panda, worth maybe taking a look at in a head-scratcher of a finale on Saturday at Aqueduct. Race 9 at 4, 12, 1, and 2. All right, that wraps it up for the handicappers report on this Saturday. Again, Brian Netto took a look at Gulfstream. I took a look at Aqueduct. You can get more info as well if you go to capitalotv.com and click on the handicappers report link. Nice printable sheet with both the Aqueduct and the Gulfstream picks and much, much more. So check that out as well. But we'll wrap it up for this edition of the Handicappers Report. Don't forget, a little bit later on, OTV Live on this Saturday afternoon. Coming up next, however, it's Racing Across America. A nice show concentrating on all this stakes action. We've talked with Safi Joseph, recorded an interview with him. He has drained the clock in the Fountain of Youth. We talked with Ron Nicoletti from Gulfstream Park as well. Expect Jeremy Plonk to join us from Countdown to the Crown on a day with 2 very important preps, steps along the Derby Trail. So all of that coming up in just a few moments. Wrapping the handicapper support for this Saturday morning. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Racing Across America up next.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track